asking you, who would you prefer to replace John Harbaugh, an offensive-minded head coach or a defensive, like a coordinator on offense or defense? Let's get out to the phones. We'll start it off today. Ryan in Baltimore. Ryan, what's happening?
Hey, gentlemen. Good morning. How are you?
Doing all right, Ryan.
So I've had a couple days to process the whole John Harbaugh situation, and it's kind of bittersweet for me because he's really all I've known as a head coach for the Ravens. So, but I see two sides of the coin of reasons to keep or to fire. Obviously, Nolan, you made a great point. The job's done. There's nothing you can do. So whether stuff's coming out of the locker room or the communication with the coordinators, whatever, he's gone. But for John Harbaugh, he was a great coach. He's one of the best coaches currently in the league. For the flip side, the fire Harbaugh side, there are 4 teams that have won Super Bowls and fired their head coaches since the Ravens last won their Super Bowl. So for the guys saying the grass isn't always greener on the other side, well, I think it shows that these 4 teams are now in the playoffs, contenders for the playoffs. So, or contenders for the Super Bowl. So that's the coin that you can look at, both sides, the pros and the cons. But for what I think that they should bring in, it all comes down to the counterpart coordinator, right? If they bring in an offensive mind, they need a hell of a defensive coordinator, sort of like Andy Reid with Spags. If you got a matchup like that, I think that'd be great. And then vice versa. If you have a defensive mind, then you need a good scheming offensive coordinator. But first things first is EDC needs to figure out this roster as well, because you've got Lamar Jackson with a big cap hit. So the key is to get him extended and figure out the defense and the offense. So, and I don't mean to get too off topic, but I got a question for you about that. You extend Lamar and you bring his cap hit down. Do you consider trading your first round and some other round picks for Max Crosby?
I would. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. 14th pick in the draft, and Raiders have the first pick? Mm-hmm. You slide into 14th. Crosby, and we've talked about it. Who knows what the hell was going on with that at the end of the season. Ryan, 100%, and add 10 more percent to a potential deal like that.
Yep. It's just going to be an interesting time. We've got 2 new head coaches coming in Baltimore for the Orioles and the Ravens, so I hope there's some more success to come that follows. So. All
right, Ryan, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it as always. And he mentioned the Super Bowl winners who have fired coaches since Harbaugh last won. How about Philadelphia? Doug Peterson.
What came to mind.
Yeah, he won, got fired. They brought in Sirianni, and they won another Super Bowl and been to a couple since he left. So, yeah, it's not the death nail for the Ravens organization by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, it's foreign territory because it's the first time in 18 years we've had to go down this road, and it brings a level of excitement, too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right. I think there is a little anxiety from people because there isn't that clear and obvious Ben Johnson or the highly sought after, this is definitely the guy. This is the guy that everyone's going to interview and everyone's going to fight over, that type of thing. It's just kind of a mix. I mean, you could even do the debate between retread or just new head coach in general. Because we know they're going to interview Brian Flores, for example, so that would be an example of a retread.
Vance Joseph was a coach for a half a second there, too.
He interviews today, at least virtually, I think, because he's got a couple other teams that he's talking to.
Right.
And Broncos are preparing to play in a week or two.
Number one seed.
He's got a lot of work here. So, I think there's so many different ways. I'm sticking with offense. I see the point of defense, especially because the defense was so abysmal this year, and you really want to right those wrongs of Zach Orr. I can understand that. And with, defense being in the DNA of the Ravens' history, I get that perspective too. But it still comes down to Lamar, best player on the team. I want that offensive mind.
We have time for another call, Nolan McGraw?
One more.
Let's go out to, Baltimore. Bring in Trippy. Trippy, what's happening?
Hey, hallelujah, man. Hallelujah.
You've been watching the Marlon Humphrey podcast, or has he had one since the firing of Harbaugh?
I ain't gonna say too much on him. I'm just, but I just want to let y'all know, man. Zach, he took the defensive coordinator out his bio on IG, so that maybe the news coming soon. But I'm looking at it like this. This is my opinion, because Bob and Nolan, no matter who the Ravens hire, the fans still gonna cry about it. You feel me? That's how I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? You got some fans want EDC gone. Like, how would you want EDC gone when EDC just became the GM at the Lamar rookie year. You see what I'm saying? Like, give my man a shot with a new head coach. You know what I mean? But it's tough, man. I'm just stuck with one. I want the dude from I want Clint from Clint Kubiak from the what's the name? Because my thing is, and I agree with Nolan saying too. Because like even if we get a defensive minded coach, my thing is, who's going to be the OC? Because I'm looking at it like this. I don't want us bringing no OC in, and now we got to learn a whole new offense and stuff. For all that, we might as well just keep Todd Monken as the OC. You know what I mean? I know some people going to disagree with it, but the only reason why I'm saying that because Todd Monken was probably the best OC Lamar had since he been here. You know what I mean? Plus, we could put up 30 points. So if we can't get an OC that can do something like that and mesh better, I don't know what it is. But we do got to get that defense together. So I'm looking at it like, say if we hire Clint, right? Why not hire what's his name, Raheem Morris to be the DC? You know what I mean? And then we can rock like that. But it still don't matter, man. We got to make sure these players execute. Because I watched the game yesterday. They was missing so many tackles, and I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah,
but
that was
gotta be better.
Yeah, all right, thanks, Trippy. The missed tackles was a season-long dilemma. They had that one stretch of games, 3 straight, where they missed over 30, pushing 40 combined. And we saw it against the Steelers on Sunday night, the missed tackles at crucial times. But Raheem Morris is interviewing, I think he's got 3 head coaching interview situation set up. So does he want to take a step back after being a head coach twice, by the way, which he has, Tampa and Atlanta? If he doesn't get a job, but he might just want to sit one out and then maybe resurface. I guess in this coaching cycle, Nolan, you just want to keep yourself as out there as you possibly can. I think Harbs has built up the equity. He could sit out a year and then next year decide what he wants to do. But maybe for Raheem Morris, because you say, if I'm him, I go into my team did it last 4 weeks of the season. I mean, we were kind of percolating, had some uncertainty on the offense with quarterback, et cetera, but we have ascending players. And I think Atlanta, by the way, not to digress too much, that's an interesting, we were talking about those young defensive guys they have too, and Pitts and Robinson. I think Atlanta might be an interesting choice for a potential head coach there.
It's still, I mean, but that quarterback's a mystery. That's always the biggest hurdle. You know, I mean, I'd almost rather go to the team. Like if you were a guy that you really believed in Cam Ward, for example, like the Titans opening. Yeah. Let's say John Harbaugh loves Cam Ward. But that rest of that roster is devoid of all talent. But if I really like Cam Ward, I might choose that over a team that, all right, they got other pieces around quarterback, but we just can't find that quarterback. I mean, you have to weigh what's most important to you.